Hey guys, you know, challenges are something which make our life interesting, but overcoming them makes our life even more meaningful, right? So today we're gonna getting back to our own important topic as self motivation. We're gonna deal and start about learning theories of motivation. Guys, many psychologists have propounded three theories in order to increase motivation. So what are those three theories? We are going to know along with their respective advantages and disadvantages, and also which is actually in use right now. So first is your needs theory, second is your operance learning theory, and third is your process theory. So what exactly are needs? Guys, needs are the basic fulfilling needs, like basic things which an individual should have. The basic and the out of the most basic needs. So when these particular needs are satisfied, then an individual gets satisfied, then goes to the next level of satisfaction, right? So these needs arise even unborn or innate, or even at the premises where you're actually working in an organization, or also out of your experiences. So today, under this needs theory, we have three theories propounded by various other psychologists. So first is your Henry Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Second is your Alfred ERG theory. And third is your Herzberg motivation theory. Guys, how many of you are aware about Henry Abraham Maslow, an American psychologist? And this particular theory is being propounded by him, and this is the most widely accepted theory in today. And this is also plays an important question in utmost of all the competitive exams right over there. Because Henry Maslow's theory is widely acceptable, though there are criticisms to it, which I'm going to state it to you, but still is most widely accepted. So who is this Henry Abraham Maslow? He is an American psychologist, and he propounded this hierarchy of needs. And here he have given a list, not exactly list, an increasing order of your satisfaction, of your needs. So when you draw a pyramid, coming from the below, we have five stages of your needs hierarchy. So we are going to define them respectively. Abraham Maslow, when he tried to propound this theory, he wanted to actually classify the needs of an individual which he actually wants in order to fulfill his life. So according to that list, he had made a hierarchy. You know, guys, when you try to attempt this answer, when you try to explain this particular theory, you need to have a long pyramid with 5 lines. I mean, from above, when you count, it's an ascending to a descending, and from it's descending to ascending. So what's your first most important need from below in a pyramid which I'm talking about is physiological needs or basic needs. What are these physiological needs or basic needs? These are your primary needs: your food, your water, your shelter, your clothes, and all that stuff. In order to fulfill you as an individual, you have to accomplish these needs. You have to satisfy among yourself about these needs. So these are the first step of hierarchy of needs given by Abraham Henry Maslow. So the first is physiological or the basic needs is your food, air, water, shelter, clothes, etc. Then comes your, you satisfied your basic needs. What is the second thing which you need? Security and safety. That is, you have a home and you have insurances, you have all sorts of things, that you are secure from all the 4 boundaries, that you have no insecurity issue. That's your second need which you need to get satisfied. Your third is social. Social needs is the relationships which you actually maintain with people. That is your love, your affection, your family, and your cordial relations which you maintain. Even these needs are satisfied, then comes your fourth level of hierarchy, that is esteem, your self-esteem. That is your status, your prestige in the society. This is a society perspective of you, of hierarchy of needs, because here your fame, your goodwill, your reputation is being set up over here. And even then, when you try to satisfy this type of needs, you're going to reach the highest position called self-actualization needs, which means that you are self-attained person. That is the person who is capable of becoming a highly motivated person. Guys, it is very difficult because on the research which was made on this particular theory and how practically it is being applicable, there are many few people, like at least out of 100 you just have 10 to 12 people who have achieved that self-actualization need. So that is the level of complexity in this particular hierarchy of needs. And if you find all these needs are satisfied, that itself motivates the employees or the individuals from within. So though these criticisms are not mentioned anywhere, but there are few psychologists who have mentioned these particular points as criticisms. Guys, a few psychologists say that hierarchy of needs may not be the same for each and every individual. Sometimes there might be a conflict between social and your security needs. So one cannot justify the same order. That's the first type of criticism which he actually faced. Second is, you can't maintain such watertight compartments between the hierarchy. That's the second point. And these two criticisms I have been done so much of research in order to find, because that was a part of a particular project which I have undertaken in my 11th and 12th standards. So these are the two criticisms which he actually faced, but nevertheless he had not made any changes. But still, this particular motivation strategy plays an important role in most of the organizations, and people strive so hard in order to achieve the last stage, that is your self-actualization. So this is a theory which was propounded by Henry Maslow. Now coming to Alderfer's ERG theory. Alderfer, like Maslow, Alderfer was also an American psychologist, and he developed a model of motivation based on human needs. Yeah, even Maslow had propounded her theory based on human needs, but he made this theory into three categories, just three categories. First comes your existence, then relatedness, then growth. So he considers these three important things because like when I compared this ERG theory to our Maslow's theory, you can say that your physiological and your security safety needs comes under existent needs, and your second is relatedness. Relatedness comes to your social and your self-esteem needs, and your growth comes into your self-actualization, at the same time some part of your esteem needs. So this is how I can replicate Maslow's theory with ERG's theory. But at the same time, before making an understanding about what ERG theory exactly is, you need to get well versed about four important phases. First is satisfaction progression. I'll detailedly explain you, just note down. First is satisfaction progression. Second is frustration. Third is frustration regression. Okay. Your fourth is aspiration. These four are the most important components one should understand before making a clear understanding about this ERG theory. So, guys, I've told you these four components, right? Now I'm going to tell you what are this component actually mean. So satisfaction progression helps that if your lower needs are satisfied, then an individual goes to the higher level. Satisfaction, you have received a satisfaction. Progression is you're going to the next higher up, where you can satisfy your needs even more than your basic needs which you actually satisfied. Okay, that is satisfaction progression. Your second component is frustration. Frustration comes when a person finds failure in a satisfaction of accomplishment of any task. That is frustration. Then not only a particular task but also in a set of needs, even though you have satisfied, you have a type of failure of satisfaction with you. That is frustration. Your next point is frustration regression. Why do this frustration regression comes is you have a recurring failure in the satisfaction of your needs. Recurring. How many ever times you try to satisfy, you get a failure. So that is your frustration regression. Then coming to the last and the fourth most important component is your aspiration. What does this aspiration do? Aspiration advocates that an individual needs are highly satisfied. Like they are satisfied and they assigns the higher growth of these particular needs. That is, in step-by-step manner, you need to achieve and satisfy these particular needs. You can't even just, okay, leave it. Guys, motivation is not an elevator, or your success is not an elevator. You just can't stand, you can just can't go in one floor. It's like stairs. You need to get on it step by step in a systematic and a chronological manner. So that is the fourth component, aspiration, which actually states. Now, I told you the three important needs which the ERG theory has given. Right? What are those? Growth needs. So coming to growth, relatedness and existence. So this can be drawn in a that there is no hierarchy over here. So he had mentioned it from the higher level to the lower level, same as the Maslow's. So under growth needs, you have internal self-esteem needs. Internal self-esteem, like internally you have reached a level of self-respect where you didn't bow your head to any type of corruption or to any type of disrespect given by various people. And also self-actualization needs, where you have become a person, you are capable to achieve anything in this world. Then comes to relatedness. Your social needs, your security needs comes over here. Then your existence is, yes, to be a person or physical asset being existed in this particular place, you need something, and that is your basic needs. So what are these basic needs? Your food, water, shelter, and all that stuff. So this is a type of ERG theory which he has given, but in a different sense of words, which we actually used, and also those four important components. Now coming to Herzberg's motivation theory. Guys, Herzberg motivation theory was also being propounded as the most important theory, and is also in use right now, because he stated one particular point. Here all the people, like has Maslow at the same time Alpha, has both given just given a basic needs to get satisfied first, but Friedrich Herzberg has given stating that I wanted a justification for the hygiene needs also. So his two types of theories which he propounded was, two type of needs which he propounded in this theory was hygiene needs and motivator needs. What are these hygiene? Hygiene is, these needs are not related to work, guys, but they are related to some components which are indirectly dependent upon work, like your working conditions, your co-workers, your supervision, the behavior, the cordial relations, or any type of relation issues in the organization. When you find the employee is satisfied with such type of needs around him, and he has very good cordial relationship both with his manager, supervisor, co-workers, and he has proper ventilation, proper lighting conditions, and proper working conditions, that itself motivates him, is a statement and the principle given by Herzberg. And under motivating theory, motivator needs, what motivator needs include is achievement, or your recognition, or the responsibility, or the feedback which an employee receives from an employer. Like in which instance you can state it is as, guys, you have a project in your hands and you have to accomplish it without any flaws. So you have to complete it and submit it within the stipulated time For that, you need some achievement, you need recognition, stating that yes, he is the best employee, or sometimes saying that he is the best performer. You need to have such type of achievements and recognitions in the organization. That will help to develop your mental health, because physically money isn't the sole motivating factor here, but also your recognition. People try to talk behind you in a positive manner. That they also develops your positive thinking. It also helps to increase your performance. It also helps to increase the competitive spirit between all the colleagues. And when all the colleagues have the same competitive spirit as this particular person, that will increase the overall performance of the organization, overall fame of the organization. At the same time, goodwill of the organization will be placed stagnant in the market. So the implication of Herzberg's work and this hygiene and motivator needs suggests the management to first address their hygiene needs, that is their working conditions, at the same time their recognition needs, then come to any other type of needs, so that satisfying that particular clause will able to increase his motivation and also increases productivity in the workplace. So with this, we have completed needs theory. Now we are going to start learning about operant learning theory. Guys, operant learning theory has no segregations again. It's just a simple process which one employer should follow. That is stimulus, response and consequence. So the advocate of operant learning theory is B.F. Skinner. Who has propounded this theory is B.F. Skinner. He has propounded this strategy on the view where the people have to behave in a particular way in the organization. Okay, it's like stimulus, response and consequence. So stimulus is any situation perceived by the individual in the organization, and the response is the outcome of that stimulus, and the consequence would be the outcome of the response given by the employer. Okay, to make it more simpler for you to understand, I could tell it like as an example. Suppose if a boss, if the boss praises his subordinates, that's a type of stimulus, and this praise will increase his motivation, and he tend to work high, and he will produce more number of units, more than the standard number of units which he have to produce, and he will work more hard than that, and he will increase his productivity. That is his response. What would be the consequence? Increase in your wages, or increase in the recognition, or getting an incentive or a bonus is the consequence given by the employer. At the same time, giving on a negative tone also, the same example, if you have infringed the right of code of conduct, that's your stimulus. Your response would be the management punishes you for that infringement. That's your punishment. What would be the consequence? The result is the management looks into it that the other people are not able to, but they won't repeat the same kind of mistake which you actually have done. So they're gonna make the rules in such stagnant and such dynamic so that no one will have even right to infringe that code of conduct. So that's all for today. We have already learned about these two theories, and in my upcoming video we're going to learn about process theories. Under process theories also you have two types. Then we are also going to learn about motivation strategies. We have few strategies, like you can consider them as the motivating factors which an employer has to take into consideration in order to increase the employee's motivation. Guys, mindset is something that separates the best from the rest. So stay tuned for the upcoming video, and thank you.